Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hi again, everyone at home. Welcome to Teach Me Tech. My name is Pete Kvist and I'm your host today. I'm going to take you through how to get more out of UpWork. Now, you might be thinking, well, hang on, I don't know how to get started with UpWork. Well, that was our previous episode on how to get started. We'll recap that in just a moment, but I hope you tuned in for that episode. And in this case, you're going to learn even more. I love taking the complex ideas and tools online and breaking them down, bringing them to you so that you at home can learn them and you can get up to speed with them as quickly as possible. And today, as I said, how to get more out of UpWork. So there's two quick things before we get started. Firstly, I want you to follow along at home. If you've got a second screen, grab it now. I want you to pull up the UpWork website. If you watched the previous episode, you already have an account. Bring up your UpWork account and we can take a look at it as we go along. I want you to make sure that this session is highly practical because the only way you learn something is by doing it, right? That is the real way that you're going to learn something. So follow along at home. The other thing is ask and share. I want you to use the hashtag #TeachMeTech. The hashtag, do you like that? Hashtag #TeachMeTech. And ask questions, share your experiences at home. We love to get involved, whether you've had great experiences or bad experiences. I want to hear about them. Or maybe, as I heard from the previous episode, there's people who are providers, freelancers on UpWork. I want you to get involved in the conversation as well because you can give us a unique perspective as to what it's like on the other side. So let us know on the hashtag #TeachMeTech. Are you looking for freelancers or are you a freelancer looking for work? And get involved in the conversation. Now, what are we going to cover today? Well, let's take a look at the slides. We're going to cover, first of all, a quick recap of UpWork and why it's great for your business. We're going to look at some basic tips before you post a job to make your life much easier. A quick overview of the key steps required to post a job on UpWork. Why does the category you choose have so much importance? How to write a headline that attracts the right candidates. Why your job description is critical to the success of your entire job. The 5 most important tips for writing your job description. How to make the decision between fixed rate and hourly jobs. What are the other steps required for posting a successful job, or a successful job posting, I should say. How to get the best freelancers to apply for your job postings every time. Wouldn't that be great? How to sort through applicants quickly and shortlist your favorites. Should you be hiring immediately or conducting interviews? Top tips for conducting interviews and hiring the right person for the job. And finally, how to manage providers to ensure the best outcome for your job. So as you can see, there is so much that we are going to cover today. I want to get into it straight away, so let's get started. So let's take a quick recap on UpWork and why it's great for your business. So last week we talked about the whole concept of outsourcing and why it's great to get jobs off your plate and put them onto someone else's. If you can hire someone and it's going to work out cheaper than doing it yourself, why wouldn't you? If it's a job you don't want to do, why wouldn't you? If it's a task that you're unskilled at, why wouldn't you get someone else to do it? So that is why we love UpWork. Now, the great thing is it's also much cheaper than you thought to do this. A lot of people think that outsourcing and finding experts can be a very expensive task. Now, even if you're finding experts within your own country, whether that be the USA, the UK, Australia, South Africa, it doesn't matter. You can still find really well-priced candidates, freelancers for your job, because they're bidding against each other to get the work. They're going to give you a price that they're happy with, but you're going to settle on a price that you're happy with. And I think that is really important. It's also great to find a flexible workforce and find a flexible workforce that can do hundreds of jobs for your business. Wouldn't it be great if you had 100 people in your office right now that could bring your vision into reality? People always say to me, Pete, I can't do that. I don't have enough staff. Well, that's absolute rubbish, because with a website like UpWork, and again, there's so many other outsourcing websites that you can use, but in this episode, we're just talking specifically about UpWork, but the principle is the same. Why wouldn't you utilize 100 staff who are all experts in their field to make you and your business look so much better? It's also simple to set up and get started. If you watched last week's episode, you'll know how easy it is. If you didn't, head to the upwork.com website, set up an account, follow the steps. It is an absolute piece of cake. And the best thing is they take care of billing, paperwork, tracking, they track their staff, they provide feedback, they do everything for you. So it is all in one place. That is why I'm a huge fan of websites like UpWork. Now, let's take a look at some basic tips before you post a job to make your life much easier. And the first basic tip is to start small. You see, the biggest challenge that most people run into is they try and start with a massive job the first time they go onto UpWork. No. Do not do that. Start with a small job, and as you realize the potential and the skill set of the people you hire, you can give them more and more to do. And we'll talk about that as we write our job description, but basically you want to have small jobs for those person initially, find out how skillful they are, what their communication is like, how long they take to do it, all of those things. And if they're great, hire them on an ongoing basis. If they're not great, well, it doesn't matter because it was a small test task anyway. It's only cost you a few bucks to find out. Why wouldn't you do it? Another little tip is to utilize Teams. And if we go on to the UpWork website right now, you can see I'm already logged in here. And what we can do is we can actually go to my profile by clicking on the icon and clicking on settings. And once we've clicked on settings, we can then click on the tab here on the left, which is Teams. And with Teams is a great way to organize your staff or your freelancers on UpWork into different teams that they're working within. So go into the Teams tab, click on Create a New Team, and specify the team name that you want the people to be working in for that specific role. So as you can see, I'll click cancel there. You can see I've already created several teams here, including business blueprint, graphic design, video editing, virtual assistants. You can create your own teams. It is entirely up to you. So that's the next tip. The next tip that I have for you is help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. UpWork has incredible help available for you. Do not let that go astray. It's as simple, if you look at my desktop here, to click on this question mark icon. If we click on that, we can go into help and support. You can look on community and forums, but let's go straight to help and support. And you can see once we're on the help screen, everything is available right here. For example, I have a local phone number in Australia and it's available 24 hours a day, Monday to Friday. What a great thing. For a service, like I haven't paid anything yet, this is an assistance line. Brilliant. I've also used live chat, the most efficient way to get your questions answered. You simply click the live chat button, you click the subject, the related issue, and you go straight into the live chat feature. And they are fast and they are excellent at providing assistance. People underuse the help option in UpWork all the time. I certainly make the most of it, and I think you should too. And the other little tip that I wanted to show you, if we go back and we look as though we're going to create a job, we'll click on the Jobs tab, and what that'll do is that'll bring up our current jobs, our filled jobs, and all those sorts of things. We're going to click on Post a Job, and that's going to take us to the job posting page. Now, this little tip is a nice little tricky but unique one. You see, UpWork saves all the details of previous jobs that you've had on the website. So if we want to reuse a previous job, what we can do is we can actually click on the down arrow here and we can select a previous job that we've written, and then we can simply reuse that job again. For example, if I clicked on Office All-Rounder Virtual Assistant, it will pre-populate all the fields for me, and I do not need to write that again. I can just edit it as required. So there's some basic tips before you post that'll make your life a lot easier. So let's now take a look at the quick overview of the key steps required to post a job on Upwork. So what I'll do is, first of all, I'll delete this old job that I've posted. Now, I want to specify something. When you post a job, depending on the category that you actually put the job in, will depend on the specific fields that you see pop up that you need to populate to post the job. So the examples that I'll show you might appear differently depending on what job you're actually posting for. So keep that in mind. But if we take a look at the key steps required, and we'll go into these in more detail, are things like category and subcategory. Now, the other thing that I want to point out is if you're a first-time user, click on these buttons, and when you do, over here on the right-hand side, you can see it pops up with some assistance. Choose the category and subcategory that best fits your job. That's not super helpful, but it might be depending on where you're at. Subcategory. In fact, let's choose a category there first. Subcategory, we can choose our subcategory. Let's say we're going for web development. Did you notice how this changed where my job description was? Because it's changed the inputs that I can create. So that's what I was talking about a moment ago. But if we go back a page, we want to take that away and we want to go back to our other description. I strongly suggest you click on each field to find out Upwork specific details for each one. So give your job a name. What's in a name? Well, read their examples. Get some ideas off Upwork. Describe the work that needs to be done. Click on that. It has more details here. Now, I'll go into these specific details later, but you can click through these and you can find out what Upwork thinks you need to add for the best possible job posting. Now, scrolling down, the other key steps that will require are things like adding skills. Do we want to pay by the hour or fixed price? Then we can add things like desired experience level. And then you can see there's a bunch of other options down here. But the other important one that I want to touch on is screening questions, which we'll look at later on. So that's a quick overview. Like I said, if you're a first timer, what I want you to do is I want you to go onto the website, mouse over each field, and find out what Upwork suggests you should be putting into those fields to populate them. So the next thing that we need to look at is, why does the category you choose have so much importance? And what we're going to do is take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into more detail on these specifics, starting with the category that you choose. You're watching Teach Me Tech. Welcome back to Teach Me Tech. We're talking about how to get more out of Upwork, which is a follow-on to our previous episode where we looked at the basics. My name is Pete Kvist. I hope you're having a good time. Remember, join the conversation with that hashtag TeachMeTech. Get involved. Tell us what you're up to while you're watching today's episode. So let's take a look right now. We are posting a job. So why does the category you choose have so much importance? So if you look at the job screen here, you can see there are a limited number of categories, but the reason it's so important is because Upwork works primarily by people finding your job and then applying for it. Now, if you want people to apply for your job, you need them to be able to find it. So do not miss the importance of this step. Choosing a category is ultra important, because one of my early learnings on Upwork, when it used to be called Odesk, was that I was putting jobs in the wrong categories. They sounded right to me, but it wasn't where the freelancers were actually looking. So if you're not entirely sure on what category you should be going in for,
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.